Today, we're diving into a technology that literally turns massive, messy piles of text into a crystal clear map of ideas. It's called a knowledge graph. And thanks to the AI revolution, it's a tool that's not just for the tech giants anymore. So let's get into how it all works. I mean, really think about that for a second. Every book, every dense report, every article you've ever had to slog through, what if you could just see its core ideas and how they link together, all in a single glance? That is the incredible promise we are exploring today. You know, we're all drowning in text. And the real challenge isn't just getting through it all, it's finding those hidden connections, the insights buried deep inside. It's kind of like trying to find one specific thread in a hopelessly tangled ball of yarn. So how in the world do we untangle all of that? Well, the solution is really elegant, it's visual, and it's incredibly powerful. It's called a knowledge graph. At its heart, that is exactly what it is. It takes all that messy, unstructured information and just gives it a clean, clear structure. It automatically figures out the key things, the entities, and then it just draws the lines showing how they're all related to each other. Okay, let's make this super real. Imagine trying to explain the entire Game of Thrones saga to someone who's never seen a single episode, right? You could talk for hours, or you could just show them a knowledge graph. In one look, they could see all the key characters, the alliances, the rivalries, the big storylines, all of it mapped out visually. That is the kind of power we're talking about here. And this really highlights a huge shift in how we think about information. We're all used to spreadsheets, right? Rigid rows and columns, they're great for simple lists, but they are just awful for tracking complex, real-world relationships. A knowledge graph thinks like a network. It uses nodes for things like a person, and edges for the relationships like works with or is married to. It's just a much more natural, flexible way to map out complexity. Okay, so if these things are so powerful, why haven't they been everywhere? Well, for years, there was a major bottleneck. Let's look at the AI breakthrough that completely changed the game. For the longest time, building a knowledge graph was, to put it mildly, a real pain. It was this super specialized process that was slow, crazy expensive, and pretty much out of reach for most people. And here's why. For starters, you needed experts to manually read through text and to find every single person, place, and relationship. The early automated systems were all rule-based, which means they were brittle. They just couldn't handle the messiness of human language. They choked on context and nuance, and they were almost always trained only on English, which left out most of the world's information. And then, everything changed. The arrival of modern, powerful, large language models didn't just move the goalposts, it threw out the old rulebook and wrote a completely new one. Just look at this contrast. Suddenly, that whole extraction process could be automated. These new models actually understand the subtleties of language. They can process huge documents in seconds, and they're built to be multilingual from the ground up. All those old barriers, they just crumbled away. The bottom line is this: a process that used to take teams of experts weeks can now be done in moments. So, that's the theory. But what does it actually look like? Let's walk through the process of turning a regular piece of text into an interactive graph step by step. It's become a beautifully simple three-step process. First, you just feed some raw text into the system. The LLM then acts like this super intelligent analyst, reading through it, pulling out all the key things and mapping how they're all connected. And then that structured data is instantly visualized as a graph that you can click around and explore. And to really see this in action, just take the first paragraph of Albert Einstein's Wikipedia page. An LLM can read that familiar text and, in seconds, generate a whole interactive map of his life's key details. The theories he developed, the places he lived, the awards he won. It's amazing. Now, this isn't just some neat tech demo. This shift from manual to fully automated graph creation has absolutely massive real-world implications across dozens of industries. Truth is, you're already using them every single day. That little info box that pops up when you Google a famous person, yep, that's powered by a knowledge graph. But the applications go so much deeper. They're making AI systems way more accurate, they're helping banks spot complex fraud rings by mapping out transactions, and they're speeding up drug discovery by connecting genes to diseases and proteins. It can even turn a boring old textbook into an interactive learning map. And really, that's the true power of a knowledge graph. It's all about seeing the bigger picture. It gives anyone the ability to look at a complex pile of information and immediately spot the patterns, the relationships, and the insights that were just hidden there in plain sight.
And that brings us to the final, and I think the most exciting question. For decades, this kind of power was only in the hands of a few giant tech companies, but now it's in the hands of anyone with access to an LLM. So, what will you analyze? What patterns are just waiting to be discovered in your own work or your studies or your hobbies? The map is now yours to create.